Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Stefan Seguin, your sales coach. Today, what I want to speak with you about is how to open up on a first-time call when it's the first time you're actually speaking to a client, or first time you're reaching out to a business and you're reaching that person who is responsible for the product, the service, the solution that you're offering, who they are responsible for buying that. And often what happens is when people get into these calls, the first time they talk to someone, they try to build rapport, right? They don't know you, you don't know them, but you want to figure out a way to capture their attention. And have you ever heard people say to you, how's it going? How's your day going? Talk about the weather. Now, let me ask you, how successful has that been? Comment below, let me know. Many of my mentees that I work with, they say, oh my God, it's not working. They get hung up on more often than not, which when you have a lack of success making these cold calls or these first time calls, what happens is you end up not wanting to do it. You end up doing everything else to get away from doing those calls. Unfortunately, today we do have to make these calls, even when you have a very successful marketing campaign and you have people coming in, calling in, or filling out your applications. You still need to reach out to these people. Now, what do you do? What do you say? It's a great question. So first, when you're reaching out to a client, here's one way that I do it. And I'll say to the client, and listen to my tonality. Hey, John, is this John? Yes. John, I was wondering if you could help me. Now, when you create or use this type of tonality, and you use the words, can you help me? Most people will at least listen for a few extra seconds, right? Will at least give you a little bit of time to explain what it is that you need help on. And this is when you can begin with the right script that I'll share with you later. With the right script, you can potentially increase the number of calls that you close, where people want to book either a second call with you or that actually buy from you. So that's one powerful way to do it. Another powerful way that you can do this, especially if you're receiving calls in or someone booked a call for you to speak to this client, and when you reach the client at the scheduled time, you can ask, okay, John, thank you for showing up on time. Appreciate you being here. I'm curious, what exactly motivated you to fill out the application and join the call today? Now, motivation, the word motivation is very powerful, because most customers will open up to some degree, not completely, but at least you will begin to listen to what they have to say and why they decided to contact you. Remember, unless you're this only person in your market that does what you do, likely you have competitors around you. And there's a reason why that client decided to reach out to you and call you and say, hey, I like what you're doing. So when you're asking the word motivation, or what motivated you, it encourages people to share with you why it is that they contacted you in the first place, or decided to fill in the application and you scheduled the call. Next, here's another important part within the conversation, and it's going to come to the budget at one point. I feel that the sooner you get to the budget question, the better it is for you, because it's also a way, remember, as we're doing these calls and speaking to these clients, not all clients qualify to work with you. nor are they a good fit for you. By asking these different questions like, excuse me, Mr. Customer, would you be able to share with me what is your budget for this? Or have you set a budget aside for this? And if so, what would that look like? Now I know some of you are going to say, hey, listen, that budget question thing, most customers don't want to respond to that. I agree. And it's been a challenge for me for a long time until I've decided to use the following tactic. And it's a little trick I'm sharing with you. And what I say to clients in situations like that is, well, Mr. Customer, can you share with me plus or minus 10% what that budget would look like? Remember, people don't want to share their budget because they fear that if they share the budget with you, that you will sell them exactly that whole amount of the budget they have. In this case, by saying, look, plus or minus 10%, it gives them a way to not be completely open and honest at this point. Remember, this is a first-time call. They don't know you. But if you give them the opportunity, you open the door for that, they are way more likely to share with you what that budget is. And again, at 10%, you'll have an idea of what that budget looks like. The next part of that discussion or conversation is, well, Mr. Customer, thank you for sharing that with me. So as we go on in the conversation, the next step, what I'd like to say to clients is this. Mr. Customer, I'll be asking you some questions to determine if and how I can even help you. Because at this point, it's so early in the process, I don't even know I can help. Doing that also reduces in the customer's mind some of the barriers that they have up to protect themselves, right? Remember, think back when you're receiving a call. You don't want, especially from someone you don't know or a business you've never heard of, you're going to have your shields up. This is another way for you to bring down those shields and build the trust, right? Again, we're looking to build trust. We're looking to create a channel of open discussions where a customer can feel that they can see you as a trusted advisor and you're there for their best interest. After you've asked these questions, you can also say before, as you're setting the agenda, before you ask all these key questions, Mr. Customer, by the end of this call, there's a few things that can happen. One of which is, John, I want to work with you. And that's perfectly okay. And I want you to know that's great. The next step is you could say to me, well, John, no, this is not going to work out for me. This is not what I'm looking for. Hey, that's perfectly okay. And I want you to know, if you want to say no, it's perfectly okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. That's great. The last one that you can say, the third element that you could say, which I want you to stay away from, is let me think about it. Because when you say I need to think about it, normally what happens is, well, you're not sure you want to move forward, or you've decided that you don't want to move forward for whatever reason that may be, but in the end, you don't want to hurt my feelings, so you'd rather say, I'll need to think about it and just send me some information and I'll get back to you. Have you ever heard that? Have you ever experienced that? I know I have. So these are some tips and some elements and things that you can use in your sales calls in order to set up your calls for success. And if you need help with that, if you need help with scripts, DM me, reach out. I'd love to be able to sit down with you and chat with you to understand where you're coming from, what your challenges are, and perhaps I can help you. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care.